Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. I will be uploading 1 to 2 videos every week. I'm just thinking after having watched 3 videos in this SQL tutorial series, one question that might have popped up in your mind is this: how can I start practicing what I have learned from the video so far? Where do I start? Well friends, I have real good news for you. I have prepared this video to let you know one of the fastest ways to have your own database environment, wherein you can start getting a hands-on of the theory that you have learned so far. I've captured the steps in a Word document, the one you're looking at right now, but I will walk you through those steps via this document that I prepared. Okay, let's start. You actually have about 2 options. One is to leverage on ready-to-use SQL environments. Here I've listed the high-level advantage and disadvantage of this option. Advantage is, of course, obviously, ready to use. It's ready to use and it doesn't require any additional installation. The disadvantage of this is that you cannot save any work you do. Let's say you created a table, database table, you inserted data into that table. You created some SQL scripts, you even created maybe a procedure, a function, a package, that kind of thing, any kind of database object. Those that you have created, written, they will never be saved. Once you exit from that session of ready-to-use environment provided by some provider, then it will not be persisted, it will not be saved. One such example that I like to suggest to you, there are many others, you can Google them, is the one offered by Oracle. So you can go to this website, the URL is here, https://livesql.oracle.com. So it's an environment which is ready, it's up as long as you have an internet access, you can use that. So I will walk you through the steps. You go to that, either you Google it or you just type this URL, you can go to that. Once you are in that page, you will see this, and then you just click on Start Coding Now. When you do, you will be sent to this, you will have this prompt, and it will ask you to log in with your Oracle account. So if you already have an Oracle account, usually the username is an email address, then you will enter that and then sign in. Otherwise, if you still don't have one, somewhere here below you will see don't have an Oracle account, and then you click on that create account button to create your own account. It will not take so long, and then once you have that account, you use it to log in to Oracle. Okay, after doing that, after logging in, you will come to this, and then you will see LiveSQL, and then you will see an SQL worksheet. I have typed in here the command that you can use to list the tables that are readily available, those that you can use for your practice. You don't have to create any tables right now. You can learn about that later on. Right now, you just keep on practicing and solidifying your querying skills, because select is the most commonly used command, but it has its own complications, because once the filtering conditions become complicated, then it gets more complicated. So you really need to build that knowledge base to be very strong in different ways of pulling or querying data. Okay, so I put in here select table name from all tables where owner equals HR. You're familiar with this. Table name is, here is a table name. Okay, this one is data dictionary of Oracle. Okay, select, select, this is a column name from, this is a table maybe, and then this is a column name. This is the usual, I'm talking about the usual typical SQL format that we have learned in the previous videos. So here it is listing the tables that are owned by HR. So these are HR tables. They were intentionally created by Oracle in this environment for you to use for your own practice. So these tables aren't just loose random data, but they are interrelated in what is known in the industry as RDBMS. So Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, which all Informix, DB2, MySQL, PostgreSQL. These are database vendors, yes, but they the other term out there, which is an industry term, is RDBMS, which means Relational Database Management System. Relational because the tables that you are using are not just standalone tables, but tables that relate to one or more other tables. How do they relate? From column to column. Can be one to one to many, many to one. I mean the value. So these tables over here, you can make use of them to maximize the use of these for your learning. This is a very handy tool. Okay, if you're trying to query one of the tables above, you will get an error. I'm just putting this out here so that you will not be stopped dead on your tracks. So if you say select asterisk from countries, which is one of the tables over here, it throws an error. It weirdly tells you table or view does not exist. If you remember, I mentioned way back in one of the videos that for the most part, SQL is case insensitive. True enough, yes. Meaning here, table name countries can be written as uppercase, mixed case, init caps, or even lowercase. It won't matter. But why is it that Oracle is telling you this table doesn't exist when in fact it does? This is a different reason altogether, since I put in here in step number 6, there is no synonym for this table. So the database expects you to query using this naming convention. Owner name, which is also called schema, dot table name. So if I've shown you the proper way of querying this. This is something a little bit new for you because of the concept of the schema. Select asterisk from HR.countries. It is like this. A database object such as a table, a view, index. Let's just start with table. Has an owner. That owner is not may not necessarily represent a person, but it is in the context of the database information related to that object. Whoever logged in then created this table, whatever it is that he used to log in becomes the definition of who is the owner. In database terminologies, is also called schema. So here the schema is HR. Okay. Okay. So when I used the schema or object name or owner in front of the table, then I'm able to query. Okay, select asterisk from HR.countries, and I'm able to query. So these are the data of the table countries owned by HR. That is option 1. Okay, we have done option 1 of having our own computing environment, practicing where we could practice our SQL knowledge. But the first option is to leverage on an environment which is already available and provided by companies out there like Oracle. There are others, you can just Google them. The second option is to have your own environment. And again, I've listed down the advantage and disadvantage of choosing this option. The advantage is the opposite of that in option 1, obviously. So here you can save any work you do. If you created a table, you inserted data into that table, you created some SQL scripts, even a procedure, a function, any kind of database object, those can be saved because it's your own environment. A disadvantage, though very, very minor and negligible, is that it requires installation. You will install an application program. Okay, it's a very minor thing. So how do we start? Where do we start? You can make a Google search. This is one of the famous, easy to install, easy to set up database tools in the market. It's totally free. You Google this DBeaver, and then in my case, after Googling that, it led me to this page. So I highlighted for your info the URL of the website, https://dbeaver.io. That's the official site of DBeaver. When you click on that URL of the website, it leads you to this page over here, step number 2, and then you click on the download button, the one with the red tick. After that, it leads you to this page, and depending on the operating system, the OS of your desktop, laptop, tablet, whatever it is you're using, then you click on the appropriate installer link of your OS. In my case, this is because this is the most common OS for people. This is Windows, so I clicked on this. If yours is Mac OS, then you click on that, somewhere down there. After you do that, it will naturally download the installer to your machine, to your desktop, laptop, and then after it completes downloading, as you already know, it will be found in the downloads folder. Okay, now you can, in this example, these are just my examples. Now if you are eagle-eyed, you will notice something a little bit strange. Why? Because here community edition, the version is 21.1.4, and yet here after downloading it, my version is 21.1.3. So why is this older than the one here? It's only because I already had this installer version 21.1.3, whereas for the benefit of you guys, so that you'll be able to see the steps really crystal clear, I revisited the steps, I went through it one by one and captured those screenshots over here. So by the time I captured the screenshots, there was already, voila, there was already a new version, 21.1.4. Poor me. So, you see, this little, so don't be confused. Just follow the steps, okay? After downloading the installer, it will come to your downloads folder. Next step is to choose your preferred language. Okay, so you come to this prompt, you choose your preferred language. For most of us, that would be English. If it's not, then you just click on the drop down and look for your language, and then click OK. It leads you to the next page, the next screen, and then in that you just click next, and then in the next screen, license agreement, you just click on I agree button, and then it leads you to the next screen pop up, and then in here choose your preference, meaning just in case you're sharing this desktop laptop with somebody, sit in your office, at home, wherever it is, you make a decision, you make a call. Are you willing to share the usage of this DBeaver application with somebody else, or do you want it to be exclusively accessible only to you, to your own login? So it's up to you. For anyone, for me, up to you. And then you click on next. After that, you may notice that the next 3 steps seem to be a repeat of what you've already done. But that's alright, because it also happened to me twice. If that happens, you just follow the steps which are as shown below. So you will see this, select language, which obviously you've already seen a few seconds ago. And then after clicking that, you will get to this, which also looks exactly the same as what you've already done. It's okay. Click on next. And then again, this one is also the same one you've seen, license agreement. It's okay. Click on I agree. In step 10, just accept the default. It won't hurt. You will need this, include Java checkbox over here, because we wanted to be sure you probably have your own Java, but it may not be the exact same version as the one bundled with this DBeaver thing. So better just accept the defaults, click on next. When you come to here, to this next screen, you see highlighted in blue the default installation path where DBeaver will be installed. So I don't think it's a big deal, so you just accept that default and click on next, and then it leads you to the next step. In that case, you just click on install, and that will initiate the installation process. You wait a while till it finishes, and then you will get this screen, this pop-up. You have the option to click the create desktop shortcut, which I did here. Okay, and then you click on the finish button at the bottom. After you do that, this pop-up will close, and then on the desktop of your computer you will really see the shortcut of DBeaver. I've captured here how it looks like, so you will know what to look out for once it's there. Once you see this, the desktop shortcut, double click it, it will launch the application. We'll see something like this. It looks eerily familiar to you. That's because you have been seeing this on 2 of my previous videos, which is a good thing. Now you can have the option to just tick or check the checkbox about the tip of the day, so that it doesn't pop up every time you launch this app. So when you click on close, you're good to go. In the next screen, in step 16, I have highlighted in yellow sample DBeaver sample database. So this is the database already prepared for you by DBeaver. It has tables which are not empty, so they are readily available. You can easily, right now, as we speak, you can query them as long as it's already installed. So it's a database. A database consists of tables which are related to each other. That's why our DBMS, Relational Database Management System. So a database software like Oracle, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MySQL, DB2 of IBM. These database softwares are also called RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. A database, to simplify it, consists of related tables. How are they related? Using columns which are called primary key on one side and foreign key on the other side. We will talk about this later on some other subsequent videos. For now, just be aware that you already have a sample database bundled with your DBeaver installation. It's right in here, highlighted in yellow. Beside that highlight, you can see in close and parentheses it says SQLite. That means that's the SQL flavor that is being used in this sample database, and that's the same database I was using during in my 2 tutorial videos. Okay, so underneath under DBeaver sample database, you can see the typical database objects. You can get familiar. Table, what is a table? A view, index. A view is a logical representation of a table. You can Google that, but anyway, we will get to that definitely somewhere down the line, but step by step. Okay, here I have expanded the tables node, and you can see the sample tables that are already there, ready to use for you, by you. These are the table names: album, artist, customer, employee, genre, invoice. So you can check out all of these tables by doing your select asterisk, etc., etc. You can practice what you have learned so far from the two previous videos. So this video you are watching right now will truly complement the learning you have had on the other three videos, because this will give you the tools on really how to do it yourself. I mean, the hands-on. We are realistic. You will not be an expert in 1 week, 1 month, but we're taking baby steps, but realistically getting there. You're getting those milestones. Okay, so in the final step 18, the final screenshot, you can see I have executed a query on the table called customer, and just as what you have seen in my videos. So you can do that too now. Yes, it is already within your control. You can do these things now. You can explore and see and get familiar with the kinds of possible errors that you will encounter once you make some mistakes here and there. So again, before we wrap up, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. It is really just a small, simple thing of clicking that subscribe button, but for me, it's a big, big help. But do realize, my friends, that I am also helping you, because this SQL thing is not a small thing at all. It is an industry standard being used across all the relational databases. It is an industry standard. Unlike if you say you're using this programming language, that programming language, that is proprietary. But SQL, although if you go by database software, Oracle, Sybase, they are proprietary. But SQL language itself is an industry standard. It is the lingua franca of databases. So what you are getting here may not seem like gold, but it is really valuable knowledge. And this knowledge of SQL has really carried me far, in this industry. And I have really I've had a lot of good things, blessings, just um, leveraging on this skill set. This is not the only thing I know, but I mean, it really carried me even to my current employment. I am heavily using SQL. It's a very useful, very marketable tool, language, which will add those, wanted feathers on your cap. Okay, so happy viewing. Click that subscribe button, that notification bell. Let's help each other. Thank you for watching, and God bless. Bye.